6-3 and you ranked nationally. That's unbelievable. I mean, that's
Ah.
ain't like the Alabama or something.
On today's Throwdown Thursday edition of the Odd Coaches podcast, Dr. Adams and Coach Francis recap Week 11 games, share their thoughts on college football coaches who may be on the hot seat, review Dr. Adams' strictly for entertainment purposes only picks, as well as previewing Week 12 of the college football season. Welcome to today's show.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Odd Coaches podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner, one half of the Mega Powers, the Macho Man Randy Savage to my Hulk Hogan, the icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, it's our Throwdown Thursday episode. College football is all over the place. But how are you doing, man?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm doing well. How you doing?
Can you dig it? Okay, so on today's Throwdown Thursday, we're going to go around the territories, talk about coaches who are on the hot seat, potentially, of course. Talk about some bowls, because my partner for the last couple of weeks said, man, we got to find out about the major ones. So today we'll let you know how the major bowls work, not the minor ones. We'll do that later. And of course, in segment 3, we'll do things strictly for entertainment purposes only. But let's get into it, starting with the ACC. So, Mike, Clemson may still be alive due to a couple of losses elsewhere that we'll talk about. UNC just entered the national picture, barely. NC State is not that good. They let me down, of course, strictly for entertainment purposes only. And quite frankly, Mike, it was good to see Florida State blow out somebody for old time's sakes, even though Syracuse fell back to earth pretty quickly, didn't they? Any thoughts on the ACC, my friend?
I just think the Florida State thing makes the league a little more competitive. Not saying that it's a top league, but it was good to see that Wake Forest UNC. I'm a little concerned about UNC being in the national picture. It can only be Wake
barely
Forest by 2 points. So
they're a one-loss ACC team that's headed to the championship game, and if they can stay a one-loss team and beat Clemson, which is possible, maybe, just maybe. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll worry about all those ifs and thens a lot later.
Yep,
The
right
American,
after we eat ice cream.
The American Conference. The American Conference is officially done. Although a group of 5 team will play in a major bowl by contract, it will be just another game. Tulane blew a golden opportunity, pardon the pun, with the Golden Hurricanes. UCF will still be ranked, but they're a 2-loss team. And Cincinnati should be ranked again, but again, doesn't matter. Any thoughts to the American? I know you're saying no, so I'm gonna.
Well, they had 3 teams 8-2. You know, Central Florida, Cincinnati, Tulane. All 3 of them 8-2. So it's pretty good football, but it's top-heavy league. But I don't see them competing outside of their conference.
Yeah, and enjoy the Sugar Bowl, whoever goes. Okay. All right, Big 12, Mike, TCU should be ranked 3rd by the time this comes out, because they did it again on the road against a ranked opponent that the committee keeps shoving down our throat. So I didn't do this. I didn't make Texas that ranking. They did, and they went in their place, controlled it, won, and left. What do you think about TCU, man?
I'm wondering how Texas got ranked when they were 6-3. Somebody tell me something, bro.
Again, that's that name bias
that is
great.
6-3 and you ranked nationally. That's unbelievable. I mean, that ain't like the Alabama or something.
And speaking of that, Mike, is a 6-4 team back? Because they keep telling me every week Texas is back, and they're 6-4. What are they back from?
They back from where they was at. That's back.
And did you see the video of Arch Manning like at watching the game? He was like shaking his head, man, and his dad Coop was like, "Oh man, okay."
This dude is gonna be. Ooh, no, I ain't gonna do that. This gives me Todd Marinovich and and Jimmy Clausen vibes. That's what I got.
Okay, all right.
That's what I get.
Right. K-State, good win over Baylor. Oklahoma lost to West Virginia, and they're 5-5. So look for Oklahoma to come up in segment 2. But Oklahoma lost to West Virginia. They're 5-5, and don't lose Bedlam. Don't do it. All right, and Oklahoma State won again. Finally, the week I don't put any money on. Any thoughts on the Big 12? Any thoughts on the Big 12, sir?
Nah, Kansas fell. That's about it.
Yeah, they're bowl eligible.
They ain't even talking about
and
them
I
no
hope
more.
they play UConn in a bowl. That'd be great, but we'll get to that later.
I'm rooting for Kansas. Oh no, he ain't there no more. Go ahead.
Big 10. Ohio State and Michigan are still on the collision course. Okay, fine. Maryland got shut out by Penn State.
Oh my God.
And Penn State's the third best team in the Big 10. Now, again, that and a cookie will give you a dessert package at a fast food establishment. Which way do you want to go? Maryland getting shut out or Penn State being the third best team in the Big 10?
Maryland look bad.
And Ohio State's coming next.
Offensively, they just look bad offensively. I don't know what's going on. You know, I was watching Jeff Erman, shout out. I saw Jeff Erman's tweet yesterday. He said, at what point do Lockley take over the play calling? Because it just looks bad.
Yeah.
It looks bad.
All right.
But congrats to James Franklin, you know, chopping away to get it. You know, being number 3 in the Big 10 is still, it's a feat, you know. Yeah.
And they're a clear, easy 3 because Illinois is falling fast, and Minnesota don't play nobody. I saw Minnesota's got this gaudy record. I clicked on schedule and was like, playing Nebraska, Iowa, and some other schools, Northwestern.
Yeah, they're Big 10 West with Illinois, Iowa, Purdue, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Northwestern. You know, all them. You know. Yeah.
Applesauce, Alabama.
In the East, you got Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State. Like it's the other way around.
So I think a couple of weeks ago we talked about that they're going to move to one
big conference,
one big conference instead of you know the Sisters of the Poor against everybody who's good.
Sisters of the Poor.
All right, so HBCUs. Howard is 3-1 in the MEAC. With I think they got one more conference game.
They got 5 teams in the MEAC.
They're 3-1 in the MEAC. They got a shot at playing for the MEAC championship or however they do it. North Carolina Central is 4-1, and they're 8-2 overall. FAMU is 8-2 and 6-1 in the SWAC, and Jackson State remains undefeated and untied. So there's your HBCU rundown. It's going to be Jackson State and somebody from the MEAC in the Celebration Bowl, and I don't know if they're going to celebrate, but Jackson State should finally win.
Jackson State be Howard, you think?
Now, that was just mean, okay? I'm just saying.
I'm just asking. I don't know.
All right. We're going to move to the group of 5. Conference USA, as you are doing this, fans, and listening to us, start planning your bowls, your December 17th bowls kind of thing. So Conference USA, you're going to see Western Kentucky in a bowl, and you're going to see UTSA in a bowl. That's University of Texas San Antonio for those without the alphabet soup. And look for University of Texas San Antonio to be ranked this coming week. I'm going to make that prediction. They should be ranked. In the MACtion on Tuesday. Why are you playing Tuesday games? I know you want to get on TV, but it's Tuesday.
I thought it was replay when I saw that stuff.
Watching Tuesday football, but
now
Ohio
with the NBA on.
Ohio, Toledo, and Eastern Michigan will be in bowls. Okay. Uh, the what's the MWC? Is that
Midwestern Conference.
Midwest Conference? You sure it's Midwest? It's not Midwest. No. It's Mountain West.
Oh, Mountain West.
Mountain
Yeah,
West.
Mountain West.
Yeah, I lost interest that fast. Okay, Fresno State's going to be in the bowl. Air Force, Wyoming, Boise State, San Jose State, and San Diego State all will be in bowls. So keep an eye on them. And the Sun Belt Conference, Troy. I can't believe I forgot Mountain West. Troy, Marshall, South Alabama, and Coastal Carolina, who should be ranked, will be teams to watch in bowls. I don't know where they're going to go, but
you
those
didn't
are the
cover
teams.
the Pioneer League and the Southern Conference.
Well, Pioneer League is separate. They do their own thing. And I don't think I think Southland is it's not FBS, it's FCS. So
Southland?
I think so. I think they're the FCS.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. So the Independents, UConn is bowl eligible. Congratulations. I never thought it'd happen. There's no ties to UConn with me anymore. My good friend Ryan works for UConn now as opposed to the football side. And shout out to him and his beautiful family.
Steinberg,
yes. He works at UConn now. Just
on
kind
campus.
of he's got a great role there, happy, healthy, all of that good stuff. And Notre Dame is 7-3, and we got a shot, man. We'll talk about that more in segment 3, but we got a shot. And Liberty blew it. So there goes Hugh Freeze getting that big shot. Can't lose to UConn, man.
Here today, gone tomorrow.
Here today, gone tomorrow. That's why you sign the extension and let everything else figure itself out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to move to the Pac-12. Well. Fans, once again, the odd coaches are not the kind of people that will say, I told you so. I told you so. Okay. We get ribbed by our friends and some of our listeners for our lack of love for football west of the Mississippi. But Oregon lost to Washington, and like 5 or 6 weeks ago, Mike, I remember saying to you, Washington's playing well, man. And then they went on a little run of nothing. Okay, 0.5 just walked in. Shout out 0.5. All right. So Oregon lost to Washington. I don't know what their coach was doing. I'm watching the game saying, what are you doing? And I'm not Jeff Saturday getting jobs. But I think, oops, too soon. Anyway, bad. And then I wake up and see that UCLA lost to Arizona. Whoa. What are we doing? So Oregon's eliminated, so I don't have to hear that one-loss Oregon junk that we told you weeks ago was trash. I don't have to hear about UCLA, and now we turn to root for UCLA to beat USC. So now we can eliminate all of that because USC won again, beating the vaunted Colorado Buffaloes. They're 8-1 and the last Pac-12 team that we air quote seriously have to talk about. And there's no way a 2-loss Pac-12 team will be getting in. Any thoughts on the Pac-12, sir?
It's the Pac-12. I don't know what other thought there is. It's the Pac-12. Yeah,
so we're gonna move on. And I told y'all, stop telling me about Oregon and the one-loss to Georgia, and shut up. I don't.
And it was early in the season, and if they play now. Get out of here. Ask Washington what they think about Oregon.
Take this, and then watch Utah go steamroll everybody.
Oh my God!
And be an 8-2, or a 2-loss team.
What?
Okay. So now let's get to real football as we close the segment every week. Real football, the SEC. So look, I gotta ask you this question, Mike. Georgia's number 1, but throughout the week, I heard national commentators who were upset with the lack of talk about the Missouri game. I don't know why you keep talking about Georgia. They barely beat Missouri. What are your thoughts on that?
What you mean barely beat Missouri? Man,
It
these
was like
people crazy.
26, 22.
So
28.
yeah, okay, all right. I mean, maybe they didn't take Missouri serious.
All right, so that's just noise for you.
Yes.
Okay.
Have they not seen Georgia play?
It came up, and I was like, let me ask about that. Okay. South Carolina took a whooping, and my ticket is in trouble. My ticket's in serious trouble. We'll talk about that segment 3, but Mike, my ticket's in trouble. Okay. Tennessee came back in a big way. LSU didn't impress, but it didn't matter because we'll talk about why it doesn't matter in segment 3.
Don't matter.
Alabama, I'm sorry, that's a nice win and all, but you don't matter anymore this season. And go Vanderbilt. They beat Kentucky. Vanderbilt won an SEC game. Go Vanderbilt. Any thoughts before we close out this segment, sir?
Vanderbilt
They beat Kentucky.
Kentucky sliding.
Yeah. You lose to Vanderbilt, you do it more than sliding. You
slide.
slipping and slide.
You slip all the way down. The hell is you? Yeah, but no, I think again that Georgia thing. Let's put that to bed. Put that Missouri. Oh, they only barely. Man, you just got to win. And if that's the worst game they had, because you see, yeah, they did that to Missouri, but then turn around and mollywop Tennessee, right?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, just checking.
All right, fans. With that, we'll be right back after this brief break to talk about coaches potentially on the hot seat on the Odd Coaches podcast.
There is an old business adage that says, what gets measured and monitored gets done. It is also fact that deadlines spur action. That is what the CKA Save Project's academic monitoring service can do for student athletes. Measure and monitor their academic progress to improve their grades. Our academic monitoring services provide ongoing academic support for student athletes for a designated period of time. Our academic success coaches work with student athletes on time management and organizational skills, along with improving their ability to self-advocate. Every few weeks, our academic success coaches meet with student athletes to assess their academic progress as well as provide ongoing academic advising. If needed, student athletes have access to CKA Learning Specialists who provide virtual core subject academic support for student athletes. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast in segment 2. I got a couple of things to talk about before we get to the coaches on the hot seat. Excuse me. So, Mike, is it too little too late? The University of Michigan has announced that the school will be increasing security in and around the tunnel at Michigan Stadium following violent altercations throughout the season. Per a statement provided by WXYZ, the school's most recognized adjustment will be increase in security staffing the area that border the tunnels opening to the field. The changes come after 2 confrontations this year, one against Penn State and one against Michigan State. Again, Mike, is this too little too late or
This is called CYA.
Okay. CYA.
That's all it is. It's CYA. That's all. It's CYA, first of all. Like, y'all need to have that damn energy on the field.
Okay.
Get that energy on the field. Stop fighting everybody. If they undefeated in the tunnel. Undefeated. They undefeated in the tunnel. Can't win a damn thing on the field.
Oh, no, Michigan has. That was Michigan State. Hey, Michigan's still undefeated. But yeah, safety and security should be first, second, and third before we even do anything.
Yeah, but we got to talk to your boy, Harbaugh. You know what I mean? Letting that happen.
Is the Michigan-Ohio State game at Michigan or at Ohio State?
I don't know. I don't care enough.
45 went up.
Turn the TV on. It'll be on. It'll be on. I'll check.
On.
I'm looking at it right here. Duh. That was dumb. So that Michigan-Ohio State game will be at. I don't have a score. They off this week?
Skip it. All right. Will this make a difference? Conference USA announced this past week that it reached a new television distribution deal with CBS Sports and ESPN beginning next season. Notable, the conference will shift all league matchups in football during the month of October to midweek evening games, mirroring the Mid-American Conference November MACtion slate, as we just talked about games on Tuesday. The agreement will also give CBS Sports the Tier 1 selection for 18 Conference USA football games and the Conference USA championship game, along with 18 men's basketball games and the men's basketball tournament semifinals and championship games. Fans, as you know, that the Odd Coaches have covered all of this conference expansion. So here's who's coming to Conference USA in 2023. Liberty is coming to Conference USA. So they'll probably win it. Jacksonville State's coming.
That's what
New Mexico State's coming. And Sam Houston State will join Conference USA, with Kennesaw State becoming the 10th member in 2024.
Is this just the state conference? That's what they need to call it. Everybody's a state school. Like, what is this?
So will this make a difference as Conference USA attempts to increase its national imprint? They're going to play games in the middle of the week like MACtion.
Yeah, they're going to play games in the middle of the week. It'll get their schools out in front of more people. Somebody might mistakenly turn it on and you get a chance. And also, you're not competing against the SEC, because when it comes to Saturdays, it's CBS, SEC. That's just it.
Well, remember the SEC contract switched to ABC, ESPN soon.
Yeah, but
you're still watching those games.
Exactly. You're just gonna watch SEC. I don't care who it is. SEC. I watch.
We're gonna find that game.
I will watch the worst two teams in the SEC over the best two teams in the Conference USA, bro.
Well, if the state of Maryland hurries up, and I just keep hearing that it's coming. I'll bet on some Wednesday night, college football from the comfort of my couch.
That ain't
I keep hearing the commercials. I'm seeing vehicles on the road.
Yeah, I hear
saying it's coming. Bluey, hurry up and get
it. Yeah. I bet it won't happen soon. No.
Just do it before bowls. I'm tired of driving on Thursdays, but I digress. Hot seat or not, okay? Hot seat or not seat. It's not hot. Jimbo Fisher, Mike, Texas A&M, the school won't pay an $85 million buyout. So I don't think Jimbo's on the hot seat. What about you?
Why won't they?
You really think they're going to pay an $85
It's Texas A&M.
It is Texas A&M, but I think he's good for this year.
It's about 5 schools we know. They get that money up, and that's one of them.
Okay. All right. I think this guy just saved his job yesterday. Neil Brown from West Virginia. One more loss will assure Brown of his 3rd losing season in 4 years, but they got Oklahoma yesterday. Is that enough to save him?
One more year. It's enough to get him back for a year.
I heard the AD might not be able to pick his successor. So
what?
Rumor has it, according to media reports, that if they get rid of Neil Brown, the AD will probably shortly behind him. And I don't think the AD will have a chance to pick his successor based on media reports from this week. So again, good win.
Tie yourself to the right man, bro. Or else.
All right. Tom Allen at Indiana. Since the magical COVID season of 2020, the Hoosiers are 5-16. Does he make it to next season?
He should. It's Indiana. I don't think do they expect to win in football?
Well, they had a great year in 2020. David Shaw at Stanford. David Shaw hasn't had a winning full season since 2018.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals have lost 25 of 39 games and sit 1 loss away from consecutive losing seasons for the first time since 2007, 2008. My answer always is it's Stanford, and I know what you need to get in to Stanford. And
be happy somebody want to coach for you.
I think he should be safe, but
exactly.
But it's Stanford. Do you know what you have to get to be academically to get in the Stanford. Okay. And then finally, Brent Venables, Oklahoma. This is his first season, coach.
Yeah, he can't be on the
The
hot seat.
last time OU was this bad through 9 games, 5-5, was 1998. So I hope one of his assistants is in charge of the transfer portal, because whatever's there ain't working, and you better do something fast. And as Lincoln
This is his
Riley
first
did,
year, though.
flip that roster.
His first year, and all his players left with Lincoln Riley. I mean, that's 5 wins is a lot when you took what he took.
You're Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner.
I don't care who you are. If your coach leave and the quarterback, one of the top 5 quarterbacks.
Quarterback leaves. I think
Right.
the wide receiver left.
Exactly. Come on, man.
Yes.
You got he. It's too early for him. He's on that. If he's on that list, it's definitely too early for him.
You better
He's
be looking
taking
in the
over.
portal, baby.
It's a shit show that he's taking over. So
I don't think a high school kid's gonna help you on this one, man.
no, not one. Go get you one of them.
Go look at Alabama's disgruntled roster and see, and then start a poaching.
They got 2 losses in Alabama. Trust me, they not.
Somebody's
happy.
leaving.
Yes, sir.
All right, with that, we'll be right back in segment 3. We'll talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only on the Odd Coaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler and Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome to a special adjunct segment of our Throwdown Thursday edition of the Odd Coaches podcast with our Notre Dame correspondent, Jake Schuller. So fans, as you know, and longtime listeners know, Jake and I go back 100 years, and he is a legitimate Notre Dame fan. And I reached out as Notre Dame was losing because Mike and I both root for Marcus Freeman, and we were fit to be tied. And prior to the Clemson game, I reached out to my friend, just as the show works. And Jake said, we got to be patient. This is going to work out. This is going to work out. I feel good. And then lo and behold, boom, knock off Clemson, boom, held on against Navy. And now going into the last 2 weeks of the season, they still got a chance to be 9-3 and win my ticket, so to speak. So Jake, what's been the turnaround? What have you been thinking about as you have been to both games the last couple of weeks? So tell me your thoughts on this.
Yeah, boy. I mean, it's just been a crazy season. There's so much excitement around Coach Freeman coming in. I was one of those Notre Dame fans who was just thrilled that he was hired. I think he's just such a great person from everything I know about him. And he seems like a great coach, and I was rooting for him so hard. So when they lost to Marshall after week 2, and then they dropped that game at Stanford, I know there were people who were maybe jumping off the bandwagon a little bit. But as I said to you when you reached out, this is something that's going to need to take a little time. The guy's never been a head coach before, and we knew there were going to be bumps in the road. We knew that these were the type of kind of growing pains that you're going to have to go to hopefully get to that higher place. But it's been an interesting year. That Clemson game, I was in the stadium, and it was as electric as I've seen Notre Dame Stadium ever. And I was there for Notre Dame, Florida State in 1993. I mean, it was almost to that level.
Wow.
It was great. So the interesting thing to me, though, is how they are playing to the level of their opponent every week. I mean, they were leading Ohio State in the fourth quarter. They beat BYU. They beat Clemson. They beat Syracuse. They beat North Carolina. They beat all these ranked teams. But the terrible teams they're playing, they're either losing to or barely squeaking by. So I just don't know what that's all about. I don't know if that's a coaching thing, and they've got to make sure the team is not looking passing. I don't know what it is. It's almost inexplicable how they can play so well against the best teams in the country and play so bad against the worst teams. But look, at the end of if we can beat BC, and who knows, given the way the season goes, and then they play Southern Cal. If you told me at the beginning of the year, you can go 9-3, but you'll beat Clemson and Southern Cal, I'd probably take that in his first year.
Yeah. So which bowl would you have your eye on? What are you thinking about? Because Mike and I talked about bowls, and there's a tie-in with the Orange Bowl, and Notre Dame has like carte blanche on a lot of bowls. So what would you want to do? Because I'm sure you've peeked at the bowl possibilities.
Yeah, I've looked at a lot of them. I mean, I think New Year's Six is, even if they go 9-3, I think that's probably out of the question. I don't think there's ever been a 3-loss team that's gone to a New Year's Six bowl. But I've seen predictions of the Gator Bowl against Florida. Be nice to play an SEC team. I've seen Holiday Bowl against a Pac-12 team. That could be a good matchup.
Where can we get you to play LSU?
I was just about to say there's some long shot possibilities where maybe I think everybody's head would explode if they played Brian Kelly and LSU.
See, here's the deal that I'm looking at. Okay, I'm looking at the Orange Bowl.
Okay,
and I'm looking at the ACC representative, and I'm looking at Notre Dame, who can kind of slide in. I'm looking at, if Clemson's not in the playoffs, they're going to steal that slot. Okay. Yeah. And they're not going to do whatever. But if Clemson sneaks in, I think the committee would bypass North Carolina and put Notre Dame in. And there's an SEC tie-in. So there's a shot that something like that could happen. But I'm way off. I mean, more likely than not.
Yeah, I think the internet would explode and never be recovered if that happened. It would just on Notre Dame. People wouldn't be able to handle that. I don't know if that could ever happen.
And speaking of Brian Kelly, you also said, and we quoted you in that episode, say what you want about how he left. That dude can coach. And as soon as you say that, LSU runs off victory after victory, including beating Alabama. LSU has now clinched a berth in the SEC championship as a 2-loss team. As we put our predicting hats on, I don't see a scenario where LSU beats Georgia. I think Georgia is just freaking awesome. So, one, what are your thoughts on how quickly Brian Kelly has been able to adapt to SEC play? And two, where do you actually think they'll go bowling, or could they beat Georgia and be in the playoffs? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't. To answer the second one first, I don't see them beating Georgia. I just feel like Georgia's on a different level than everybody this year. Like the last few years, I felt like it's like maybe Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, and then everybody else. This year, I feel like Georgia's just on a different plane. They're a tremendous team. As far as Kelly goes, boy, he just wins, man. Like I told you, I'm a Notre Dame guy. I didn't like how he left, and I'm kind of sore at him still. And I'm definitely not rooting for him. But you can't deny the fact that he has won everywhere he has been, and now he's at a place where you've got unbelievable amounts of talent, and so I'm not surprised. I mean, he's a heck of a coach, and he knows how to win football games.
All right. And last but certainly not least, I do have to get your thoughts on something you had said caused my partner pause, and I
Uh,
want to give you a chance to fully explain yourself. We asked you about Jimbo. I asked you about Jimbo, and they're not winning. And there was a stat today that was shared on the internet that said Texas A&M is the first team ranked in the top 5, 6, or something that won't even be bowl eligible.
right.
And I asked you, do you think he sticks around? And you said, yeah, they got the money, but it's kind of proof that the NIL piece and the recruiting kind of not always what it seems. Mike
Yeah.
was like, what? And I said, man, Jake's trying to tell you. And my research, my own personal research and Find the Balance book said, man, intrinsic motivation lasts longer than extrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to give you a chance to, you know, expand upon your thoughts and
Sure.
make my partner smile.
Sure. Well, I mean, look, maybe it's wishful thinking on my part because Notre Dame has always had, bringing it back to Notre Dame, they've always had a little bit of a problem with recruiting because look, they're recruiting to Northern Indiana. It's not South Bend's not the most amazing place in the world. It's cold. You've got to. It's a hard place to go to school. They make you go to class, and so all I was saying was, when they're throwing money at people, that may get guys in the door, but there still has to be, I still think that there has to be a reason for a lot of kids to go to a school other than, look, I'm getting my best NIL deal or, it's the prettiest girls or whatever. I think there has to be a deeper reason, not for everybody, but for a lot of kids, I think there needs to be a reason why you're going to a school beyond just the NIL, beyond the money, beyond those type of things. And that's where I thought, well, hey, Notre Dame, especially with a guy like Marcus Freeman, who can pitch the education, the faith side of it, kind of the special parts of Notre Dame that you don't know about until you get there. If you can really sell those things, maybe you can kind of head off some of this NIL stuff. Maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part, but I do think there's something to that. I don't think money can just buy titles, especially in college. There has to be another reason why kids pick a school and if they're going to stay there and for the long.
And to expand on that piece, coming from the book side of it, my research says there's more of a need to find out the why behind the what. Yes, I picked this school, but the answer is why, because once you play and once the whistle blows, no matter what the sport is, you still have to compete and it still has to be about winning. And a lot of times the NIL piece serves as motivation for the opponents as well. Everybody reads the newspaper and you covered me. People got up to play our teams because if you beat us, we're going to storm the floor and it's going to be the biggest thing you're going to talk about years and years and years later. So I think you were on to something with that. And I think, my partner understood that, but while I had you, definitely wanted to give you an opportunity to expand on that. So again, on behalf of my partner, I do appreciate you coming in. We're going to sneak you in segment 3 and let my partner and I'll be segment 4. But thanks again for joining us, Jake. And we
Yes, sir,
appreciate
Keith.
having you, man.
All right, buddy. Good
All
talking.
right. Let's get to the OCP top 5. Okay. One is Georgia. There's no doubt. And last week, some Yahoo, Mike, voted
Stop.
Ohio State number 1. When you have the AP polls or whatever, and they have like 65 votes, and 64 went to Georgia, and some fool
Yes.
said, that's where the Missouri thing came. There you go. That was their rationale. Well, they didn't really beat Missouri very well, so I don't think they're number 1. Yeah. So let's see if we got a Yahoo by the time this comes out. Okay.
Got me.
I have no problem with Ohio State being 2. Fine. Somebody's got to be 2. TCU should be 3 because they have, air quote, a strong resume, even though Big 12 is not very good. But if you keep ranking these teams, they're beating ranked teams. So that's your system, not mine. Michigan's 4 until they lose to Ohio State, and then we don't have to talk about them anymore. And this might be controversial, Mike. I don't know. LSU for me is 5. And the reason why LSU for me is 5 is they guaranteed themselves the SEC championship game against Georgia. And if they keep winning, they're a 2-loss SEC team going into a championship. And if they win the SEC championship, they're going to be in. Now, they're not going to beat Georgia. Shh, don't tell anybody. But we got to have like 3 weeks of entertainment, or whatever. But that's why I got them at 5. On the outside looking in, Clemson and UNC, because somebody from the ACC that's a 1-loss team has a right to have the conversation, air quote. And then USC, because they're a 1-loss Pac-12 team, we've got to have the conversation. But my question is, does a 1-loss Pac-12 team get in, or an ACC 1-loss team, or if TCU loses in the championship, do they still get into the playoffs? Who's that 3rd and 4th team going to be? Because Georgia and Ohio State will be in as undefeated teams. So now we got 2 slots left and a whole lot of mess. What are you thinking, Mike?
Michigan and Tennessee.
I can't see them putting Michigan in, and I cannot see them putting Tennessee in. How you gonna put Tennessee in and they can't even get to their conference championship?
Well, it's not their fault they in that conference. This goes back to who they playing. They playing who they supposed to play.
Yeah.
But like the third best team in the SEC is still better than the first place team in a lot of these conferences. Let's just
Yes.
That's
all
why
correct.
and that's why you go to these bowls and they be these lopsided ass victories. Ain't nobody supposed to beat you by double digits in no bowl. I don't care what nobody say.
All right. So for the CFP, the Peach Bowl will have the number 1 team versus the number 4 team. So that'll be Georgia versus whoever. And then the Fiesta Bowl has the number 2 team versus number 3 team. That'll be Ohio State versus whoever. That's kind of how that looks. So we're going to keep that in mind, fans, as we go to my picks of the week. Last week I was 2-3. This week I'm 2-3. Okay. So here's who I had. I had TCU +7 against Texas. Not only did they get the +7, they got the win outright. And against the spread, Mike, I'm 7-4 this season. When I go to Vegas, I'm going to do a bunch of across the spread bets based on my own data. See how I do, but I'll still do the show stuff. Over under, I picked Vodtech and Duke over 49.5, and was promptly reminded that Virginia Tech has no offense. That's my fault. Okay, so I'm 5-6 over under this year. Not bad, but not good. My 2 play of the week came in, Tennessee and Clemson. I try to be conservative with my money line picks, and even in being conservative, I'm 5-6 over the season. My 3 play of the week was Notre Dame, Penn State, and NC State. So NC State lost to BC. BC was 2-7, playing at NC State, and NC State's ranked, trying to hang around to get a big time bowl, and they lost to Boston friggin' College. Yeah, I'm a little pissed because that should have been a win for me. Should have been. Man, I'm looking at it like, and the funny part, Mike, is my wife's downstairs and she looked at the ticket and she said, "You making all this noise for $5.60? So I bet 10 to win $5.60." And I'm like, "It's $5.60." She just, you've seen her get the deadpan look.
Yeah.
And I said, "This is why my fellas are still, surprised that you let me gamble." She said, "You ain't gambling."
Not $10. Not $10. You ain't. That's
Strictly for entertainment purposes only.
That's a coffee and a muffin. That ain't gambling.
Pardon the pun on the nickname.
I didn't realize.
Pardon the pun on the nickname. Okay.
That's coffee and a bagel. No.
And my money line pick, strictly for my selfish purposes only, was South Carolina. And let's just say they didn't get the win. And I am 2-9 all season.
Always bet on Don State. Oh, not Don State. My bad. You didn't bet on Don State.
No, man. So look for our picks. Look for my picks every Saturday morning on Twitter. Season-long win totals. So fans, I actually did 12 bets this preseason, and 9 are still in play. I'm still excited about that. I got now 3 winners, and let's go with it. Georgia over 11. Georgia's at 10 wins. They got Kentucky and Georgia Tech left. I am feeling confident that that's going to be a winning ticket for me. You
Really?
already know Kansas won for me, and they're bowl eligible. Good luck to Kansas. No, I'm not betting for them in the bowl. Okay. NC State. Oh, Mike, I'm in trouble. I am in trouble.
Because
NC State is over 8.5. They're at 7 wins.
mm, they got to win
Yesterday
2 games.
was supposed to be the 8th win. Now they've got Louisville and UNC. They've got to go 2-0 for me to win. Their next loss, I'm done with that ticket.
Yeah, that's
Well,
dead.
I'm dead. I'm dead in the water.
You did. You did on that one,
All
bro.
right. I piled on Nebraska early under 7.5, 7.5 wins. Won that one a couple of weeks ago. So Notre Dame, Mike, they've got 7 wins. It's over 8.5. If they beat BC, which is
Which they will.
possible,
Yeah, they should.
and USC, which is possible, I squeezed that one out last week of the season. Can they go undefeated and go 2-0?
That USC game is going to be tough. I think they should win. I mean, they should beat Boston College. But
Right.
we'll see. You know how that game, Notre Dame got nothing but rivalry games, a whole season of rivalry games every year. You know what I mean? It's kind of tough, but
Yeah. Now, Penn State, the third best team in the Big
Squad.
Ten. Is that a T-shirt,
Squad.
by the way?
squad.
Over 8.5. They're at 8 wins now. We have
Squad.
Rutgers, Michigan State. Can we get one win out of those two and take me to the pay window? Come on, man. Rutgers and Michigan State are the last 2 games.
Michigan
I
State,
only need one.
You never know Michigan State, but you can get Rutgers.
All right, so we'll get that win next week. So, Mike, I did a 2-play at the start of the season. Texas under 8.5 wins. Texas A&M under 8.5 wins. And
Safe.
thank you to
saved
TCU.
Yeah.
That one's a winning ticket now. So we got a winning ticket there. So
Good job.
congratulations.
Good job, sir.
All right.
You're the
South
best.
Carolina is over 6.5, and they're at 6 wins. They didn't play very well against Florida. And they got Tennessee and Clemson.
Yeah, who?
Last 2, Tennessee and Clemson, the last 2 games of the season. Tickets dead.
Oh, you ripped that one up.
Dead in the water.
You ripped that one up, bro.
Right. And I don't think it includes bowl games. They take a quick. Nope, it clearly says regular season. Clearly says no ticket, no bootleg.
Yeah.
All right, we got Clemson over 10.5. We've got 9 wins. They got Miami next week, and they got South Carolina. What are you thinking, man? They should be able to beat Miami, and that's 10. And then the South Carolina game,
They'll beat South
myself.
Carolina.
Yeah.
They'll beat South Carolina and that's the one that'll get you out. So you win one and lose
I
one.
win one, lose one, and that's called gambling, baby.
Yeah.
That's called gambling. Break it even.
So, yeah, they'll get Clemson to finish out with 2 good ones. Miami, it's going to take a lot for them to even be competitive in that game. And South Carolina, man.
Yeah. I lost my shot, and they beat them bad too. I turned that game on, turned it right back off. Okay, I need to watch this. And Ohio State over 11. They're 10 wins now. They will be in town against Maryland
Next week.
Mike will have some suggestions for our fans of what to do with their Saturday at the end of this segment, and then they have the Michigan game. So we'll be rooting for Ohio State. Sorry, guys, but Mike will talk about why we still want you to go to the game. So week 12 games. Tennessee versus South Carolina. That is my selfish game, so sorry. Ohio State, Maryland, selfish. Illinois, Michigan. I don't even call that a trap game anymore as bad as Illinois played. Michigan better beat them and beat them bad so we can get, high ratings. I don't need this one anymore, so I'm going to take it off. Utah versus Oregon. I don't care anymore because Oregon lost.
Well, why?
Oregon's got 2 losses. Utah's got 2 losses. So somebody's leaving with 3. I don't have to talk about them. USC, UCLA, that's a game, and we're rooting for UCLA.
It is
so then we can eliminate that. Bedlam. Oklahoma State versus Oklahoma. Venables is 1 win away from being bowl eligible. You better win that thing.
Man, if he win it at Bedlam, he good.
Yeah.
He
All
good.
right. Boston College against Notre Dame. Again, that's selfish for me. I don't think Jake's going to that one, though.
Nah, I think Jay's gonna pass on that one.
And Coastal Carolina versus Virginia. Coastal's ranked. Virginia's not that good. So if you can get that ACC win,
Virginia will win.
I am watching that for bowl purposes, because if they could beat Virginia late in the season, we need to watch them on the bowls.
What's the
Okay?
spread?
Not yet now, not yet. It's when we tape, they don't have that out yet. All right, Heisman watch. So now I don't need to be the various media reports. I have watched the media for the last couple of weeks, and now bump that as we traditionally do on the OCP. The Tennessee kid, Hendon Hooker's in the mix. Okay. The Ohio State kid, CJ Stroud, is in the mix. Caleb Williams is still in the mix until they lose one more game, and then he won't be in the mix anymore. The Michigan running back's in the mix. And if he runs all over Ohio State and they win, it's going to be hard not to invite him to New York.
He got to go. He
It's
got to
going
go.
to be hard not to invite him to New York. My dark horse, not to win it, but to get invited, is North Carolina's quarterback, Drake May. If they keep winning games, and he's playing well, okay, he needs to be invited to New York City. Okay, invited. I didn't say he's winning, but Mike, you can't argue that if the team goes 11-1 and he's the quarterback and he's the freshman and he's doing the thing, how is he not going to get invited?
Doing the thing.
He's doing the thing, man. And the last guy for me, TCU's quarterback, Max Duggan. Again, they're winning, and he's the quarterback. And his story, this is the kid that got benched when the new coach came. First guy got hurt. He ain't lost since. That's the Heisman story. That's the backstory. You know, the Heisman show's like an hour long. You need a story. That's a segment right there.
Tom Brady too, but he ain't win the Heisman.
Oh my goodness. So what do you think about that, man? Anybody you want on, anybody you want off. And yes, I put your boy Bo Nix on. Get out of here.
Better have Bo Nix on there. I didn't hear his name, so you kind of made me upset.
Two losses.
Okay.
And did you see that throw yesterday that they're making fun of on the internet? And then the coach didn't even put him in on the biggest play of the game. And he's sitting there saying, "Coach, put me in." And coach is like, "Nah, I'm good." Coach said, "No, I'm good."
We
can't win no Heisman when
your coach
you ain't got no
put
history.
you in. Yeah, your coach won't put you in. You can't get the Heisman, yo.
Coach don't put you in.
Put
me in, coach. I'm ready to play. That's what
Jimmy
John Fogerty said.
I can see Jimmy Conyers over Bentlow. Nah, yo, we good.
All right. So anyway, major bowl watch. Mike, the Rose Bowl is Big Ten versus Pac-12. So whoever's not in the CFP will be in the Rose Bowl for these teams. I'm looking at Michigan being in the Rose Bowl because they're going to lose to Ohio State. So there you go. And they're not going to get in the playoff. So who are they going to play in the Pac-12? I'm thinking USC.
USC is
Michigan,
yeah.
USC.
And they can sell that out because it's always about marketing too. You know how that is.
I think it's going to be Michigan, USC. That's me. That's you.
Right.
I don't want to see UCLA. I don't want to see Utah. I don't want to see Oregon. I want to see Michigan State,
not sexy.
USC. Yes.
Sexy game.
I want ratings on the big bowl days. That's what I want.
Yep.
All right. So then the Cotton Bowl is going to be the least rated bowl because one of those is going to be a group of 5 team and the other one's going to be an at-large team. And that at-large team will be somebody mad, upset, whatever.
Tennessee.
And they're going to crush whoever's there. Now, I don't think it's going to be Tennessee because the Sugar Bowl is the SEC versus the Big 12. And the SEC, Georgia's going to be in. Okay, so you're talking about LSU, you're talking about Alabama, you're talking about Tennessee. So one of them's going to be in the Cotton Bowl, one of them going to be in the Sugar Bowl, and the Orange Bowl is the ACC versus SEC, Big Ten, or Notre Dame.
Alabama will be in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then,
Alabama be the Sugar
the
Bowl.
Orange Bowl is the one that's got the most options
That'd
because the
be
ACC
Tennessee.
is going to be in there,
That'd
but
be
you get to pick SEC, Big Ten, or Notre Dame.
It'll
And
be
if
Tennessee in the Orange Bowl.
think so,
Yeah,
what if Notre
Tennessee will be in the
Dame keeps
Orange
winning?
Bowl, or
What if Notre Dame keeps winning?
it'd be Tennessee versus Notre Dame.
Yeah, well, but you have to have an ACC rep. So that's Clemson, that's North Carolina. It won't be North Carolina. So I'm thinking maybe Clemson, Tennessee. That would be a good game. That would be
I mean, that's too much fucking orange for me, but
it's the Orange Bowl, baby. All right. So, Mike, I'd like for you to close because we've got a big game coming up, Maryland and Ohio State. But even bigger is what you and AJ are doing to help the community. Can you let our audience know about that again, sir?
Yes, this is year 6 of the Francis Sports Academy season of giving. So what we do is partnership with the University of Maryland Athletics. We collect non-perishables and canned goods for our local transitional / homeless facility here in Anne Arundel County on the western part of Anne Arundel County. We grew up very close to that facility, and we've taken it on to all of our outreach and things like that. And we don't give because we have a lot. We give because we know what it's like to not have enough. So in doing so, we continue to do back to school, book bags, school supplies, whatever we can. But this weekend at the Ohio State football game, if you're going to the game, please bring your non-perishables. And because we have it set up outside the stadium, if you just want to drop by, you come by, drop off some things for us to deliver to Sarah's house, it will be greatly appreciated. Even if you don't have a ticket to the game, you can come by and bring your non-perishables.
All right. And again, fans, people have challenges throughout the entire year. And this is a time that folks are and increase awareness as it's based on the holiday season, but this helps people throughout the entire year. So if you have the opportunity, please stop by. If you don't already, please follow Coach Francis at Coach Franchise, spelled FRANCHIZE. Follow the Odd Coaches because we do, retweet the items. And Mike, I can't remember AJ's Twitter handle off the top of my head.
Twitter, Instagram, everything. AJ Francis 410.
Yeah.
So it's at AJ Francis 410.
And of course, I'm at CKA Save Project. So we will be retweeting and sharing, liking all of those things. So again, on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, I am Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast. And we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.